That's right, a real live Druid. Well, you're going to now because meet Mark Baily, who is a practicing Druid. So the question is, Mark, what is a Druid?
Most Druids are believers in history. We try to recreate or redo some of the things that our ancestors did. Big thing among most Druids, heathens, and many of the people in the pagan community is ancestor veneration. So we try to remember what our grandparents did, what our great-grandparents did, the very first Baily in history back in 1121 AD. For those that practice, say, witchcraft, they will get into the same thing, but probably for slightly different reasons.
What is the difference between Druids and witches?
Very little, actually.
Oh.
Most people within the pagan community believe in magic, if you want to use that term. For us, magic is spellcraft, it is ritual, it is the same thing as someone would do if they were having, say, a prayer session. It is your attempt to use your own beliefs to cause something else to happen in the world. Someone to heal faster, someone to maybe get a job, someone to have food tonight. It's not to throw a spell on Oregon State or
darn it, can you
that.
That was a request of Laura, our producer. Hey, you know what, we should have talked to you yesterday, Mark. Could you have put a spell on Oregon?
For some people, maybe so.
Okay.
But for most people within the pagan community, there are actually ethics to that. And the ethics to magic is what you do is going to come back upon you. It's kind of the rule of balance. It's kind of the rule of opposites. Every action has an equal yet opposite reaction.
People the way you want to be treated?
Yes. And if you're nice, you hope that they'll be nice back. If you're not, then you get what you deserve. So praying for something that probably shouldn't happen, casting a spell for something that you probably shouldn't do, it's our belief that if we do something like that, that we'll actually suffer some kind of a negative consequence.
Interesting.
And depending on the people, this is either a negative consequence that's personal, or for a lot of people, it actually affects not only your family, but your friends around you. And for some, it actually impacts on the honor of your name. And again, in my case, it is actually traced back to 1121 AD in northern Scotland.
Northern Scotland. Well, and Druids are you're heavily a part of the Celtic community. And when I was doing some things with the Irish Cultural Center, this came up a lot. And what is the correlation between being a Druid and a fall harvest, Halloween, and having to do with the Celts?
Well, with the Celts, they had something back in the 1st century BC called Simonios. It was a calendar called the Caligny calendar. It was dug up, I'm going to say a couple hundred years ago. And it lists, I believe, 52 months in order as their way of tracking time. It's somewhat accurate even to this day. And one of those months was called Simonios. It was the fall harvest, the fall gathering. We don't exactly know what it was for, but we're fairly certain that during this time frame, a lot of the Celtic tribes from France, Germany, all the way up into Denmark and parts of what's now modern-day Poland, all across the British Isles, down into Italy, into Turkey, they all had these kind of dates. And it was that last harvest. Get everybody together, get all the food in as fast as you can, and somewhat tribal agreements with the nearby tribes. Don't fight me, don't steal my cattle, leave my pigs alone, and come over and help me gather in all the harvest, and I'll treat you to a meal. We'll get drunk together.
Right, we can celebrate.
We can celebrate.
Right.
And then tomorrow I'll go to your area and I'll help you, so long as you help me celebrate with a little bit of boar and pig and whatever else you may have.
Interesting stuff.
The Druids themselves come from, the name itself actually comes from writings from Strabo, from Julius Caesar, from Tacitus. This is an old Gaelic thing. The Gaelic word for this festival is called Samhain, but it's spelled S-A-M-H-A-I-N. The M-H in Irish Gaelic is A-W. The A is silent, so Samhain. If you talk to someone from Scotland, the M-H is a V, so it's Savine.
Mark, this is such interesting stuff, and we could go on, and unfortunately, we're running out of time.
I kind of thought so.
You know, such interesting history. Thank you so much for telling us what a Druid is, what you do, and the history with the Celtic community. We appreciate it. And you know what, for everybody at home, we're going to take you out to the State Fair for some food and fun, and what can I find on a stick? Check this out.